Hi everyone. So Sue and I are gonna talk about the more on manifesting, which is continuation from last week, and we go into more depth on. Sometimes I did get a comment from my TikTok audience, and then not everything we get manifested. Like I always ask something, and the stuff doesn't get manifested. So we can delve into that part of the questionnaire as well. So, um, in general, our higher self is a manager and who can kind of understand how all operation goes. Let's say the higher self is more like a district manager or something like that. Instead of like we only see our part of town and we only have a narrow side of what's going on immediate part of our lives. So we can really see how energetically connected to, let's say, other timeline and this timeline and all this big picture of what we are trying to accomplish and everything, like as a soul and or as also starseed or light worker. So higher self can see in the big picture, and sometimes that has a lot to do with manifestation. So Sue, can you start sharing your point of view about this?
Sure. I want to start with a quote that 50 Cent said on the Graham Norton show, which it still sticks in my head today. And it's just this, they were talking about bringing abundance into your life, or what are you asking for? I don't even know how they got on that topic. It's not usual a Graham Norton topic, but anyway, he said, sometimes God tells your ass no. And everybody just went into hysterics. So what does that mean? Why does that stick out for me? And I'm going to say it's not necessarily God that tells you no, although we are all God force. But as you said, our higher self sees everything that we planned for ourselves in our lifetime. What did we come here to learn and grow or remember about ourselves, or to foster, to develop more richly than we ever had before? So our higher self is aware of what our plan is. And sometimes we're trying to manifest, or we're asking for something that isn't going to complement that plan, or in some way might even prevent us from achieving a certain growth that we're looking to achieve if we received it. Okay. So the higher self will say no, or not yet. It's not time yet for that. Like, so we have this internal desire to have this, that, the other thing. Maybe there's something we need to grow and discover about ourselves before that can come in for us.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because that it's the journey to that point that's most important, not actually getting there, but it's our journey to it that our higher self wants us to experience fully. So,
Mm-hmm.
we could call that divine timing, which I like to call divine timing because I recognize that I'm part of the divine. I was part of creating my own plan. So we can throw the word trust out there and say, I have to trust that if I've really put out everything that I need to put out in my desiring of this outcome, whatever it is. So abundance is a lot more than just money. I mean, it could be relationships, uh, the great career, where you live, all these things. If it isn't quite here yet, I have to trust that because I've put all of my energy into believing in it and wanting it and desiring it, now I need to let go and believe that when the time is right, divine timing, I'm going to get there.
Yeah.
It's coming. If we
Mm-hmm.
hold on to it too tightly and we sit there and go, well, gee, I did all these things that everybody said, and I love myself, and um, I feel really, really good about where I am. So why isn't the next thing coming in? And why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? Maybe I'm not really a manifester. Okay, so that's actually preventing you from getting there. So the trust part comes in. This is what I suggest: is understand that if it isn't the proper timing for you right now to have this thing that you're trying to manifest. Trust and understand that the universe heard you. Your higher self knows it's coming. And it may come in a way that you didn't envision it. It may come in a whole different package, but these things that we're wanting and that we're calling in for ourselves, there's steps to getting to certain places. Um, so, for example, if I was born into, let's just say money, that's everybody's favorite form of abundance, right? I mean, my favorite form of abundance is love. Let's
Mhm.
say money is it for you. Like you just want to be rich. You don't want to have to worry because it brings security, right? And it takes a lot of things off your mind. So there's nothing wrong with wanting money. But for me in my life, um, gobs of money were not intended for me in the beginning of my life because and through most of my life thus far. And why is that? Because as a soul, one of my purposes here was to learn to love myself, to identify the fact that I don't fit into anybody's box and I don't have to, and that's okay. But I have to appreciate what I do bring and just being me, just being here, holding light for myself and for other people. It helps humanity. So, does it matter that I don't have this stellar career? Does it matter that I don't live in a fancy house or drive a fancy car or have gods of money so I can just jet set wherever I want to go? No, for me, it doesn't. My answer is it doesn't matter at all because I'm like so very happy that as a child, I was in essence forced in some ways to not focus on that kind of thing. It wasn't available to me. I didn't get my focus taken away from what I really came here to do, which is build relationships. My relationship with myself, most and foremost, but the people around me. And what does true love look like? And um, learning to accept and respect the fact that my frequency doesn't feel good around other frequencies, and I'm going to stick with the frequencies that feel good for me. Instead of trying to bend myself and change myself and mold myself into somebody else's ideal, that's not the frequency I was running on. Okay. I had to respect that and say, oh, I want to be around people that respect me for who I am, that celebrate who I am. And okay, so I'm getting really long winded with this, but I hope I'm presenting the point that our higher self knows why we came. There is a divine plan, and therefore there is divine timing. So I just want to say to folks, if you've done all this, you've really done this manifesting work and you've attended all these workshops and things of that nature, and it still isn't coming, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It might mean A, it's not the right time. And then the next topic that you and I want to cover, and I'm going to let Erica cover this, is recognizing our unlimited value. If we're not recognizing our unlimited value, that could also stop the process of, because if you're not telling the universe how amazing you are and that you deserve to have all the bounty in life, how's the universe going to give it to you? Okay, take it away, Erica.
Yeah. So see, we as a human, we try to look for external validation by other people approving us. So having certain amount of money or having certain type of status in the society or how popular you are among opposite sex or whatever, right? What kind of neighborhood you live in, that kind of thing, what kind of car you're driving, that's all external validation. And why do we want this? Because we need proof that we are valuable. And we measure by those external things. So there is some tangible evidence to show how valuable we are. That's what our mind think. But when we started to accept who we are, not because we have money, it's nice we have more, but that's not where our value comes as a soul. Because in especially non-physical world or high vibrational society of other galaxy, how much money you have doesn't mean anything, because all this financial stuff is 4D level of society, which is not that high consciousness, right? So when you go into more high consciousness evolution as a soul, how much you have awareness of who you are and what can you contribute to others from what you have, not materially, but as a soul, what can you contribute? Your light, your knowledge, your wisdom. That's the value. So in order for us to finding that part, having all this wealth doesn't really, help for regular people to find your value, because when you have plenty of money and then people come to you all over the places and you have plenty of friends and you started to wondering, is this person really like me because of where I come from, or is this person really like me because who I am? I did hear that comment from some of the people I know who are, having a very comfortable, fortunate background. And then that kind of questionnaire is very normal, You do start wondering, like, okay, all these people suddenly gathering around me because what? Suddenly I'm successful now. Before they didn't give a shit about me, All of a sudden want to know how I'm doing, you know. So all this external thing, like Sue said, will come later on once we started building our internal structure and we started to value ourselves as a soul, regardless of what we have or how we look or what kind of position of the society we have. And so just because I'm talking like this, it doesn't mean I don't value the wealth or power, because sometimes when you are having certain wealth and the power, you can influence a lot within the society. So it's a very handy tool, but that will come later. So you know how to use those tools instead of tool is using you. So that's what I can share about that so far.
Yeah, and just in addition to that, I was telling you earlier, and I'll share with everybody, I was listening to Matt Kahn, who it's his All for Love tour. So it's in 2018, and I happen to have it saved on my computer. So yesterday I was working my other job, and I was listening in the background, and it's like, oh, this is so good. I'm so glad I saved this. And he talks about, unlimited value, like believing in your unlimited value. So that's where this comes from, coming out of my mouth. But the concept of it is universal. It's not, we are not important, as you said, Erica, because of what we can do for somebody else, or, is the money the reason people are hanging out with me? Well, I've heard it said many times, it's not what you do, it's who you know. I totally disagree with that concept. That is a very self-absorbed, egoic standpoint, and I think it's an energy we're moving out of. It's not I'm using my friends because of who they know. It's I want to be around this person because they make me laugh, or I just love their personality and I feel good when I'm in their presence and they feel good when they're with me. And this is, so he says, now this is on the topic of spiritual development. I have notes here because I did some automatic writing this morning and it was just flying out of me. I thought, wow, normally I just free speak, free flow with you. But today I had to write some things down because it was just coming in and like this massive download. So Matt Kahn talks about you can take all the spiritual development classes out there. Okay, say your goal, you're trying to manifest your clear vision, your clear audience, your clair knowing, your, all your psychic abilities, or you want to be this awesome quantum healer, you want to be this amazing Reiki practitioner, right? So you could take all of these classes that are out there. But if you don't have confidence and believe in you and know that we all have these abilities, that we could just tap into them, by believing that we can, right? You can do all of that. And if you don't trust you, how are you going to get the messages that God or like you said, the higher vibrational dimensions are sending to us? How can we allow that in if we don't trust ourselves that we can receive them? And, I'm going to venture to say that all these people that are talking about how do you clear your pineal gland, I don't know, however you want to pronounce it, but you know what I mean? The part that allows us to open up our third eye and all of that, or opening your third eye, there's some special formula. You gotta stop using fluoride and eat these certain foods and do a little dance and shake it all around. No, okay? No, the divine right timing you chose for yourself before you came here. So when you would open up spiritually and have your awakening, that's already in motion. It was decided. It was planned by you. Now, yes, we can get off our path and we can do certain things that are destructive to ourselves that would prohibit ourselves from opening up. But I think for most people that I talk to, most people I hear telling their stories, it isn't that they're off their life path. It's just they're thinking so freaking much about what they have to do and how they need to take this next course and how they have to develop in order for it to happen. Like somebody's going to wave a magic wand over them or tell them some words that's going to make it happen. No, you're the magic. You're the magic. You're the one who says, okay, I'm ready. I open up to it and I believe it. And I believe that I'm just as capable as Joe Blow next door or the best psychic, on YouTube. Once you decide and say, I believe in me, I am source energy, I am a creator being, I have the ability to do this. And now I'm ready. I'm open for it. That's when you can allow the message. Matt Kahn was making a joke. He says, some people that are channelers, he says, one of the first things out of their mouths is, I'm not sure this is right, but this is what I'm getting. And then they tell the message. He's like, why the preamble? Why I'm getting a message from God, but I don't really trust it. And people laughed and I chuckled a little because you heard people say that, well, I don't know if this is right or not, but this is what's coming in for. Why wouldn't it be right? If your ego mind is guiding you, you're going to know it because you're just not going to get the information, right? You're going to get what you think that person needs to hear, but it's not going to be this. It's very different. Do you know what I'm saying about how the messages come in? Like, how do you know, Erica, when the messages are from spirit or if it's your ego mind? We've talked about it before.
I can't repeat it. I can repeat the summary, but I can't repeat the exact word, and they speak a different way from how I talk. They use my vocabulary, so maybe more.
So you have to paraphrase it.
Well, I can't repeat the exact word because that's not coming out of really me, They all have different personalities, so they have different wit or the way to use their wording or structuring the sentences and stuff like that. They even change their tone of English rhythms, the way I speak.
Ah, okay.
My oversaw, they speak like more of British kind of way, and then Ashtar speaks like Ashtar. So they sound all different,
Now, what if you had never believed that you could have these messages that you could receive? I mean, what was the thing that got you trusting in the first place, that you were actually communicating with other beings?
You mean channeling or clairaudient?
Yeah, either one. Opening up to your abilities.
Well, clairaudient one, I needed my friend's help, like professional psychic help to prove me, because I just woke up, prove me if I'm not being schizo or something, But after you go through, all this, having solid evidences, you have to put in the place, or they are putting you in the place that you have to accept it, because some of the information you don't know,
Right.
like I'm not as good at science, even though I went to nursing school. And then Jesus started talking about how body structures changes at the time of ascension, and all this like scientific jargons. I can never come up with stuff like that,
Yeah. Yeah.
And if he was talking like that to me when we are talking like clairaudiently, and I'm like, okay, I guess I am speaking to him. I didn't ask him to show me the evidence, but he could sense it. So he kind of like acted the way, there's no way I'm making this up kind of way.
He
So
gave you examples. I think I remember
yeah,
that conversation because we talked about it.
yeah. And then
He gave you some examples that you would understand and know to be true because of your nursing training.
yeah, so it's something I couldn't really come up with my own because I'm not good at science. I had to pass all that stuff in flying color. That doesn't mean I can talk about it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then as far as channeling goes, you kind of have to trust that you're doing it. That's what I heard from other people. So by the time you are channeling, you are at the point you're trusting, you are connecting with those beings,
Mm, for
and
sure.
then when you're connected, you can feel it. I mean, um, especially when I connect with Akashic record, that's more solid way of proof that I'm seeing the book of each, person I'm doing the leading with. So when I see the book, and then it's kind of pages open, sometimes half of the pages open, sometimes like 1/5 of the pages open. And when I see the book, and then when I'm connecting with a gatekeeper, then I know I'm connected, right?
Yeah.
Or when I connect with Aster, usually I connect with Central Sun, and then I started seeing the structure of the ship, which is very transparent.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of felt like I'm zoomed in. Then I'm like, okay, I'm connected.
So just to rephrase everything you just said, let me make sure I got this right. When you first started receiving the messages, you didn't trust them.
No,
And wait,
you have to
let me
trust.
finish. Let me finish. When you personally first started receiving, you had to go to psychics, which is an outside source, for confirmation. And then as you received your confirmation, you started trusting it more. And then it turned into, now you're not just hearing things, you're getting visual proof. And so you opened up because you trusted it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was similar, but a much slower process. And it started as a child. I could feel in a room when people didn't like me, or if people liked me. I could, or if somebody was neutral, didn't care, didn't even know my name, right? I could feel all of that. Didn't understand it, but I could tell. And people used to say to me all the time, "Oh, you're so sensitive. Oh, Sue, you got to quit being so sensitive. You got to quit taking things personally," right? As a little kid, you're like, "Well, I know how people feel, so don't tell me I'm being sensitive." Well, I really was sensitive. I was. And I just didn't understand it. So as the years went on, but the time when I had the light bulb moment where I knew that I was getting direct communication from spirit was the day I was going to this grocery store, and it was a beautiful sunny day, and I heard very clearly, "Take the umbrella." And I stopped myself and I went, "I don't need an umbrella. Look at the beautiful day outside." I go to the store, I get my grocery, and I had a huge cart full of stuff, and it is raining cats and dogs outside, thunder, lightning, the whole 9 yards. And then I said to myself, "You know what? I got a very direct message, and I need to start trusting that, because the minute I don't trust, what I'm hearing. That's when, so I didn't know at the time. This was before I became a quantum healer and got into, Dolores Cannon and Candace Craw Goldman's methods. And then once I started doing sessions, I mean, everything opened up. I started getting visuals and hearing and everything. I could probably be diagnosed as a full blown, like you said, um, what's the term you used?
Schizo?
Schizophrenic. Yeah. I mean, if the medical community got a hold of me, I'm sure that's what I would be diagnosed with. But no, it's not that. And, I wonder, touching on that subject, if it doesn't have to do with why people are afraid of embracing their abundance in their spiritual development, because maybe they're afraid of what other people are going to say.
Labeling like you're psychologically disturbed or something. Or worst case scenario, you're possessed by demons.
Oh, gosh. That's the worst.
Right?
I really wish this community would get off that train, because it's just not possible. We have free will, but yeah, a lot of people have been talked into that they're possessed or they have an attachment. Or no, if you have any attachment at all, let me tell you what that is, people. That has to do with other parts of yourself, what we would call other lifetimes or other incarnations. These are energies that you haven't been able to resolve. So you carry it over from one lifetime. And that's why in a hypnosis session, by the way, if it looks like another person you're connecting to and they're saying, well, you allowed me, you called me in at this part of your life, that's another part of yourself. Would
Yeah.
you agree? Would you agree with that?
Well, yeah. So because when I do the session, even for myself, like when I see like my other part of life, I ask, do you want to integrate with me, merge with me, or Archangel Michael, please guide this soul to the light.
To the
To
light.
the
That's what I do too.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So that's
Because
kind
it
of
may be,
spirit removal thing.
yeah, I mean, we can embrace those darker parts of ourselves. Like I got to tell you, it wasn't real fun for me learning that I was in the Turkish war with, Vlad the Impaler, and that, I had killed horribly lots of people, including women and children. I mean, that was not a joyride for me, learning about that lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
However, back in those days, if you were loyal to king and country and you were a soldier, that's what you did. And you were given a commendation for it. You were given an award, or at least when you came home, you were heralded as a hero, right? Unthinkable shit that
Mm-hmm.
we did in certain lifetimes, that in this current contemporary lifetime that we're in now, we would go, oh my gosh, it's not possible. I could never do such a thing. Well, in fact, we have, and we did. So I know we got off on a little bit of a tangent, but this is kind of key in manifesting and accepting our unlimited value. Yes, we can and have been dark things. That doesn't mean we're dark. It means that
Yes.
we've explored all aspects of what it is to be human, or not even human, but just a being in a certain reality and a certain density. And this is what was going on at the time. We stopped in to see what that was like and experience it for ourselves. It doesn't mean that's who we are,
Mm-hmm.
right? So our unlimited value can be derived from embracing those dark parts of ourselves. And like you said, if it's not something that we want to integrate into our whole, like the actual energy of it, we can send it to the light for transformation. But accepting that that was us, and it's okay. It doesn't mean we're any less lovable. It doesn't mean we're any less worthy. That also plays into, um, what we would call manifestation, which all we're talking about is bringing into our lives what we want. If we don't believe we deserve it, it isn't going to come.
Yeah. So all this part of the aspect of your soul is, I guess, the aspect. So like when I do those Archangel Michael spiel, with me or with the client, it's like it's up to us to merge ourselves into that part of aspect of soul to have further growth as more of the unified part of the soul, or we can just let that bring back into the source, because it doesn't matter, right? It's free will. It's just either way, we are accepting whole part of who we are. So more we understand we had the various part of who we are as a soul, doesn't necessarily be always light, always positive, always, from the light side, could be dark side as well. And then that's how we are all going through as ascension, not just as a human being, but whole galaxy and the universes, especially our universes. So do you have anything last that you want to add to Sue, to our audience? Anything they can do to improve their manifestation life or anything?
Yeah, I did, like I said, some automatic writing. So I'm gonna read it to you actually, because like you said, when the message comes in, it's not from me. I had to write it down, otherwise I would forget it. It wasn't. This isn't from me. This is from my spirit team for you guys. Oh, and by the way, they want me to say embracing the dark parts of us doesn't mean we act on them. Okay.
Good point. Good point.
So we can love ourselves even with all the dark, especially with all of the dark, but that doesn't mean we act out the dark. It's always choice, free will, right, baby? Free will.
Yeah, you've done it before. You don't have to repeat it again.
You don't have to do it again. No, you just have to recognize and say, oh, it's okay. I'm still part of source. All right.
Yep.
Here's what I wrote. You will get to the place when and where you don't care about what comes to you materially, because you feel so good inside. You love yourself so much. You are with only the people that support your own self-love because you support theirs. And then the magic will happen. Abundance will come in for you, probably better than you ever imagined. This will happen because you told the universe about your unlimited value. And so the universe keeps sending you more. Trust that where you are now, no matter if you think you need to lose 10 pounds, you need to take a course because you need to get smarter, whatever it is you think you're lacking, trust that where you are now is where you are meant to be, and see that despite any of those things that you're wanting, that you have unlimited value right now. And tell yourself every day about how amazing you are. Right now, in this moment, exactly the way that you are. And this magic will start showing up in your life.
Awesome. Okay. So I only share something simple. It always goes back to self-love. So self-love is not about thinking positive about yourself, or, just embrace every part of you. Like, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. She's not perfect. We bitch about our life, we have other certain people we are not fond of, just because we do spiritual practice doesn't mean we are like holy or anything, right?
Oh gosh, no.
So embrace who we are, where we are at. We don't have to be perfect. We don't even have to be example or what you gonna call it, role model of other people. We just accept where we are, and then tell us it's okay, and love ourselves where we are at. That's self-love. That's what I wanted to share. And if we are able to do that, we can accept other people as where they're at as well. And then the planet gonna be more loving, peaceful place.
Oh, that's another good point. Everything you just said, that's another thing Matt Kahn suggests, and I agree 100%. If you don't know where to start loving yourself, start being kind and gracious and respectful to people around you. because our consciousness, our beingness, our brains don't know the difference between being kind to somebody else and being kind to ourselves. So if you don't know how to do it for yourself, start doing it for other people. Be
And then,
respectful and polite and kind. And I don't mean if somebody's barking in your face, and insulting you, of course, walk away. I'm not talking about that, but I mean everybody you meet in the grocery store, your family, your neighbors, everybody you encounter, just start practicing kindness and love to those people around you. And then your brain will go and your beingness will go, I'm going to do that to me too.
treat yourself as your best friend.
Yeah.
That's all we can say. So next week, we're going to bring more interesting topic. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please share, like, subscribe. And Sue and I are going to see you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.